Hello, Los Alamos. Today we're here with a very special guest, Geoff Rogers, who's the pilot of the medical helicopter in town, which is stationed by Classic Air Medical. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for being on our show.
No problem. I hope I can stay here for the whole thing.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Certainly. I'm currently the base manager and the lead pilot for Classic Air Medical here in Los Alamos. Classic Air Medical has 10 bases all across the Mountain West. The company likes to specialize in small mountain rural communities, and Los Alamos was a perfect fit for us. And so outside of all the administrative duties that I now have assumed, I also get to fly that nice shiny helicopter that's out at the airport.
Ooh. And how'd you get into piloting? Is it pretty exciting, or?
You know, it was, I hate to admit this, but it was sort of right place, right time for me way back in like 1982 when I was just getting out of high school and the Army was recruiting for pilots, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. So I spent 5 years on active duty and 8 years in the reserves, as well as flying a lot of other civilian side of things, firefighting, construction, power line patrol, that kind of stuff.
Can you tell us a little bit about your connection with Los Alamos?
You know, I like to think I'm a local, but I've only been here for 20 years, and I know that in Los Alamos in New Mexico that a local it has to be several generations.
A couple hundred years.
A couple
now.
hundred years. But my wife and I moved here back in the mid-90s because of her job with the Park Service, and it never was intended to be this long, but it's a great little community. Both of our kids are born here, and this is home.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Can you tell us a little bit about that helicopter? I know my kids scream it out whenever we pass it. There's the helicopter. It's pretty shiny and nice. I don't know.
It's shiny and it's brand new. It's actually the model. It's a Bell 407 GX, and it's the GX stands. It has a glass cockpit. It has the most advanced avionics suite that you can get in an aircraft like that. It was purchased specifically for this base. It still has the new car smell in it. It has about 270 total hours on it, and those hours have all been put on it in relation to this base. And so as far as the aircraft itself, we can hold, we normally fly with a crew of 3. We have a pilot, a flight nurse, and a flight medic, and then it has room for 1 adult patient, or if we have a child patient, then we can take the child as well as a parent or guardian.
So are you all let's see, so there's 3 of you that go on
There's 3 crew members.
Are you all working full-time but always on call? Is that how that works?
The pilots work a different schedule as opposed to the medics and nurses, and that's driven in part by the federal aviation regulations and also the regulations that the medical crew has to work under. But the pilots work a shift of 7 days on, which is from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. We work that for 7 days, and then we're off for 7 rest periods, 7 days, and then the pilot will come back on and work 7 night shifts from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, and then is off. As far as the med crews, they work a pretty typical, what I call a nurse rotation. They work 24-hour shifts, and our crews typically work 3 24-hour shifts, and then they're off. Sometimes they'll double them up and work 6 24-hour shifts. Now, they're not awake the whole time, and the pilots aren't awake the whole time. We do have crew quarters here in the community where we get our required rest.
Okay, so if something happens, it can happen anytime, night or day.
Night or day. We are 24/7.
And where can you, I guess I've had this kind of vision, like when I'm running in the canyon, if a mountain lion comes and attacks me, can you just land in the canyons? Can you land anywhere? Like,
we can, actually. One of the reasons that we use the Bell 407 is it's a little bit smaller than some of the other medical back copters. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is Classic Air Medical is, to my knowledge, is the only air service in New Mexico, medical air service in New Mexico, that offers a search and rescue capability as well. And we're 24/7 on that as well. We operate, the crews are all qualified with night vision goggles, and so we can operate after dark. If you're out lost and you have a cell phone and you can turn the light on, with our night vision goggles we can see you several miles away. and,
Oh, wow.
and we can find you. So to answer your question, what we need is a minimum spot that's about 60 by 60, and obviously level of some sort, and we can land out there. And we have done that already. About a month ago, our crew went up and rescued might be a strong word, but went up and extracted a mountain biker from near Taos who'd crashed and broken some bones, and the crew went up, found him, loaded him on board, and took him to the hospital.
Wow, that's amazing.
So and this is not to knock the other services, but they tend to do the inter-facility, the pad-to-pad, airport-to-airport kind of flights.
Mm-hmm.
But we
You do that as well, though, right?
Yes. The three kinds of flights that Classic does is we do the inter-facility transfers, which is from hospital to hospital, typically from like Los Alamos Medical Center or Espanola, even sometimes Taos, to a higher level of care. We'll also do on-scene calls, automobile accidents, and those kinds of things, and then the search and rescue.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. If you, I'm wondering, have you ever like just flown around, like, can you tell us about what it's like seeing New Mexico from an aerial view? Or are you kind of just going straight, like, Los Alamos to Albuquerque?
We tend to do straight line because obviously time is of the essence, as it were. But you know, I lived in New Mexico for almost 20 years before I flew a helicopter in New Mexico, and I know the lay of the land. I've been through the canyons. I like to backpack. You know, I've traveled all over New Mexico. But to see it from the air, it truly is a gorgeous state, especially here in northern New Mexico. There have been times when the whole crew, I mean, we're all experienced aviators or air crew members, and there'll be the sunset or the lighting or the rocks or something, and all of us go, wow. I mean, it really is a gorgeous state. So you can't see it, nobody on the ground can see it, but there are many times I'm coming in short final landing here with a great big smile on my face, because it's cool.
Doesn't get old, right?
No, it never gets old.
Have you ever had a baby born on the helicopter?
No, right now, Classic Air Medical is not certified to do what we call maternal flights. And so there's a minimum size patient that the patient has to be before we can transport. As a company, what we're working on is...
Like over 10 pounds or something?
Over 10 kilograms,
Okay.
and so, which is about 22 pounds. We are working here in New Mexico, and this is what I think is exciting. This Los Alamos base for Classic it's really doing well. I mean, obviously there's always room for improvement and growth, but we're doing really well, and there's talk about making this sort of the pilot project within the company to get the certifications to do maternal transports. So that should be coming on pretty soon. So, we're working to bring it on.
Yeah, I've always wondered how that worked. Like, where's the birth certificate? somewhere in
Is that
this
somewhere?
latitude?
Yeah. You know, we have done. I mean, it's not just a ride. I like to tell people that the equipment and the training and the certification, the level of quality care provided in that aircraft, the way it's been explained to me, and I'm not a medical person. I'm the guy up front driving. But there's everything in the back of that aircraft that's over in the emergency room at the medical center, except for X-rays.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I mean, we have had crews doing compressions to save somebody's life. I mean, there's the crew members, the medical crew members, have to have a minimum of 2 years in a high volume system before Classic Air Medical will even consider them for employment. And some of the most talented people I've worked with, I mean, they're really a neat group of people. And so we don't just pick up a pre-packaged human being and transport them. There is ongoing medical care en route.
Yeah. Wow. That's really impressive. Can you fly through like whatever kind of weather, or
you know,
how does that work?
We operate under VFR rules, which visual flight rules, and we have to have a minimum visibility and a minimum ceiling, a minimum cloud layer before we can launch. And you know, not to be facetious, but the most important life we're going to save today is ours, because if we don't save our own, we're not doing anything for the patient.
Yeah.
And so we won't fly in just any kind of weather. When weather is kind of sketchy, we'll put ourselves on what we call yellow status, and when a call comes in, that gives the pilot and the crew an opportunity to look at the weather, depending on where we're going, and make that decision whether or not we can actually take that flight. And we have a saying within Classic that it takes 3 to go and 1 to say no. All 3 crew members have to be comfortable with that flight, and if one of them is not, then we don't go.
You don't go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good system. You've
Well,
got there.
everybody has a different level of comfort. Everybody has
Yeah.
different filters, different experiences, and so we want. And the last thing you want when you are trying to provide that level of care to somebody is somebody who's not completely focused on it. If you're not comfortable taking that flight, then we don't need to take that flight.
Is Los Alamos a more difficult airport to land at than other ones?
Actually, Los Alamos is a very unique. That's kind of redundant. It's a unique airport in that it's a one-way airport. By its operating certificate, or what the right phrase is, but you can only land to the west and you have to take off to the east. And that's because of the built-up area around it. And for airplanes, that can be much more difficult. It's higher in elevation, and so you have to be concerned about density, altitudes, and those kinds of things. But for us, when we pick it up, point it into the wind, and take off. So to answer your question directly, not really.
Yeah.
So.
And you can land, I guess in the hospital, every time I drive in the back, there's like a giant helicopter landing pad, kind of in the middle.
Of the
I
parking
think
lot?
it's in the middle of the parking lot. Is that where you actually land?
That's where we land. And then what we're working right now is we're working with the county and the FAA to get the necessary permits and certificates to eventually move the helicopter over to the hospital. That's where we want to base it. It will improve our response times. It will improve the service for the community as well as the surrounding area. So we will eventually park it there, provided we can get everything done.
And when you say park it, I saw it at the high school once. Did you fly it over there, or did you? Do you have a way of transporting it without flying?
We actually flew it. I was the pilot on duty that day, and that was for the health fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if you're a little kid or a big kid. Everybody loves to climb in a helicopter. It's just you can just see it in people. So that was part of the display for the health.
Were you still on call at that moment?
Yes, we were. And anytime we do a demonstration like that, we have to make sure, whether it's landing at a health fair or something, that we're in a position that we can take off and they don't have tents and everything around us. We also landed at the Barranca School here not too long ago. They're having the Red Ribbon Week, and worked with the administration up there to land in the back of Barranca.
Those lucky kids.
They had all the kids out there, and they didn't tell them we were coming. And so the plan was we would take off from the airport and start flying towards Barranca School. And as soon as they heard us, they told the kids, "Hey, start waving, maybe they'll land." And so all the kids are waving, and they just pandemonium at that point.
That must have been an awesome day at school for a lot of those kids.
It was the teachers and the adults taking all the selfies. So it was good, like I said, big kids too.
I know, my husband's been wondering, how do you get a ride? Tell him he has to break his leg.
No, just do this.
Let's see. What kind of impact do you think this will have on the town?
I think the impact will be in several different areas. Obviously, one, it will increase the level of health care. We have a phenomenally good hospital here, but there's things they just don't do. And there's only one level 1 trauma center in the entire state, and that's in Albuquerque. And so just by having us here, the average time to take a patient from this hospital to one of these hospitals in Albuquerque by ground was about, if I get this number right, I think it was about 1 hour and 39 minutes. We can be pad to pad in 26 minutes, saving a tremendous amount of time. If you're having an active cardiac event, time is tissue. And so obviously it improves the health care of the community, not just the community here, but the surrounding area as well. We don't just serve Los Alamos. We'll fly all over northern New Mexico. We've even flown down to Las Cruces as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
But the other thing, and I think this is equally important for the community, is it makes it a much more viable community for people to retire in, for people to come in. Because if you do have health issues or you're getting up in years, you want to make sure that health care is available. Well, it is now. Maybe not right here, but it's 26 minutes to Albuquerque, and it's about a 12-minute flight from here to Christus St. Vincent. And so we can, I mean, I think those are the two biggest impacts that it will have.
So if somebody calls, you just basically jump in your car, go to the helicopter, and just land at the hospital.
Right now,
How does that process?
The process right now, if the flight is from our hospital, the med crew will go right over to the hospital, directly to the hospital, and begin to work with the staff there and the patient to get the patient ready. And the pilot will go out and get the aircraft and fly it over and take to the hospital. If it's from one of the other neighboring hospitals or search and rescue or a scene flight, then we all go straight to the airport, get in the helicopter and take off.
Wow, so it's less than a half an hour. So how many miles per hour can a helicopter go?
With this particular one, fully loaded with the patient and the fuel load and everything, we average about 120 knots. Don't get me lying, I'm gonna say it's about 128 miles an hour.
Okay.
So, but
wow.
again, that's airspeed. If you have a tailwind, I mean, you can go a lot faster. If you have a headwind, that will slow you down a little bit. So.
You're not going through Santa Fe traffic jams.
We don't have to go through Santa Fe traffic.
Nice.
We don't have to go through Albuquerque traffic. We land on the top of the hospital down there, or Presbyterian, and there they have the pad right there by the ER. So yeah, it's 26 minutes. I mean, I wish I could get to Albuquerque in 26 minutes when I need to catch a flight or something.
Yeah.
Well, I can. Well, I can always fly from here now with boutique air. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All the pilots in town now.
I think that's the sign of a healthy community. I mean, there are people that are coming here. There are private sector companies that are trying to invest here, and so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, we're not just a little Mesa Island.
Not
we're
anymore.
Getting connected.
Yeah. Now if we could just get broadband all the way across, we'd be good.
Did you hear that?
Broadband.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this?
There's one thing I certainly would like to share with the community. Classic Air Medical offers a membership program. And how that works is for $60 a year, you and your household are covered for out-of-pocket expenses. So whatever your insurance does not cover, if you need to use this service, then the rest of it is waived because of the membership program. And if people are interested, they can call 1-800-444-9223 and get more information on that membership program.
How much would a lift to Albuquerque be without insurance?
It's so much.
Because of fuel, I mean,
there are a lot of different variables, but I mean, you're looking at a $25,000 bill.
Oh, wow.
Total, and now depending on what your insurance will cover, many times people are responsible for what the insurance does not cover. But for $60 a year, and especially in a community like this where we spend a lot of time outdoors, getting attacked by mountain lions in the canyon, I mean, it's a good.
It's good investment.
It's a good investment, and it's not $60 per person; it's $60 per household.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you're more than welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's very interesting to talk to the pilot.
And if you want to bring your kids out, or if other people want to bring their kids out and look at the aircraft, yeah, bring your husband out.
My kids too, but they'll be the excuse.
There'll be a big kid with them. I mean, we're certainly. I mean, you're certainly welcome. Just give me a call, and I'll meet you out there and let you see it up close.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Los Alamos, and all our viewers for watching. And this is the LA Times.